All right, we are here today. This is Lynn from Midlife Carnivore, and I would like to welcome my guest, Robyn Heron from Carnivore's Grama. And I'm so excited to have Robyn here with me today. Oh, and I see my husband peeking in.
Hi, husband.
He's getting the dog. Our dog Max. He will if I don't keep him upstairs with me when I'm doing this, he will bark like crazy at
Oh,
nothing. And I have
yeah.
videos where I have him barking like crazy, his head off in the background. And it's like, oh my goodness.
Yes.
So, anyways, so I'm pretty excited. Robyn and I have kind of known each other, but only through email and the Carnivore documentary committee. And so I'm super excited to
Right.
actually have a chance to sit down and get to know you better. So, and Robyn's channel it's at Carnivore's Grama.
Yeah.
And so I want to go ahead and let you kind of take off and share the background on your health journey and what brought you to the carnivore diet.
Oh, wow. Well, hello, everybody. Of course, my name is Robyn Heron, and I am your carnivorous grandma. So happy to be here with you today, Lynn. Thanks for inviting me to come on.
You're very welcome.
I have two little dogs, and I put them upstairs in their room so that they won't start barking.
Yeah, I see them on all your videos. They're so cute.
Oh my gosh. There are a handful, but I do love them. So, just to talk a little bit about my journey, I uh, basically had a normal, standard American upbringing, I would say. I ate all of the regular stuff, like the crackers and the chips and the processed foods, school lunches, all that kind of thing. I grew up with a sense of being heavy, overweight.
Okay.
And I think it had to do with some of the things that the talk that I heard, and that was, oh, she's so chubby,
Oh,
those
so
kind of things.
were you actually a chubby child, or were you
I
maybe just a
don't really
tad
think I
little?
was.
No.
When I look at like pictures of myself as a little girl, I look like a normal sized little girl. I wasn't very heavy, but I had the sense that I was overweight.
Yeah. So adults, watch
Um,
what you say to the kids.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So they would, poke you in the stomach, and, you have a little belly and stuff
Yeah.
like that. And they would poke the stomach and say something or make a comment about my sister, who was 2 years younger than me, and, that I was bigger than her. Well, we looked like we could be twins in height or whatever, but she was 2 years younger than me. So I was always going to be bigger than her. Anyway, so I just had this sense that I was heavy. I have like the pear shaped body, so
Mhm.
I have the hips and thighs and tummy and all that stuff. So, um, you know, I just felt fat. So I
Yeah.
started dieting at the age of 11. Actually, yeah,
Wow.
I
That is
remember.
so young.
That is young. It is young, and my mom was a dieter when I was growing up. And, I think it's the fact that we have this pear shape, so the bottom
Yeah.
is big, right? The thighs
Yeah.
rub together and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And so she was always dieting. So at the age of 11, I had the idea that I should just eat only raw ground beef. That was the perfect human diet, actually. Perfect human diet. I
So
probably
you
should
had good instincts, but raw?
raw, raw. I don't know why. I just thought I should eat this raw ground beef. So I did that for a little bit, but my mom was like, "You cannot do that. No, that's gross." So I
Well,
remember eating.
did you like it?
I liked the taste of it. Yes.
Interesting.
hmm I
Wow.
don't eat anything raw right now. Like my meat, I do cook my meat, but I do remember liking it and thinking, "Oh, this is good." I would say I'm um I'm eating to live, not living to eat. I would tell my
Yeah.
mom that when I was like 11 and 12 years old.
Wow.
So,
You were a deep 11-year-old.
yeah, so and that started me on the yo-yo dieting roller
Mm.
coaster. And so throughout my young adulthood and adulthood, I always felt overweight. Even when I was only like 113 pounds, I thought I'm overweight and I need to be on a diet.
Wow.
So I always did the diets. I remember eating only carrots for a while, which didn't last long because, of course, carrots weren't very nutritious and I was probably starving.
Probably hungry. Yeah.
Yeah, but, so, I just did all the diets. And a few years back, I remember seeing um, saw a TED Talk. I think the lady passed away that did that TED Talk about carnivore a few years ago.
Hmm.
And I thought, wow, that's really interesting. But that's crazy. Like, who does that? Who eats
Right.
only meat? You know, um, Started to see more and more people. And eventually I landed on keto probably about 10 years ago. I
Okay.
tried keto. I had done all the diets. I also did Atkins, right? And I did keto for 5 years straight without going off.
Okay.
But then once I started to increase my carbs, anything over 20, I would lose my whole mind, basically just lose the whole mind and
Okay.
go completely off the rails. Um,
Did you get the weight loss that you were
I
looking
did.
for?
I did. I got weight loss, but I never really got down to like what I would consider an ideal weight for my body type. Hey, Dr. Hampton. Yay. Welcome.
Yay!
Yes. Yes.
Off
Yep.
to do
Don't
my
be
honeydew
don't
list.
get in trouble. I never got down to like what I would consider an ideal weight for my body type. United Carnivore. Hey.
Yeah, and well, and it sounds like your
Yeah.
perception really wasn't accurate
Yes.
anyways. So
It
do you
wasn't.
yeah, I mean, it may be that the body type you're looking for may not have been the body type you were meant to have.
That's right.
Yeah, so when you
Yeah.
were on keto, I know I mean, you focus on obesity, but I know that you've had other health problems.
Yeah.
Can you talk a little bit about what other health issues you were dealing with?
So I have this condition called dyshydrotic eczema. I've had eczema on my
Okay.
entire body, my whole life, basically. So I was the kid with the dark ring around the neck and in the
Mm,
armpits, behind the knees would be kind of raw white behind the knees because
okay.
of that eczema. But as I got older and became a young adult, I got this dyshydrotic eczema. And I remember going to the dermatologist and getting these shots in my fingers in these blisters. It probably was cortisone or something like that that they were
Yeah.
giving me. So that's something that I've been dealing with, and I still continue to deal with it. Um, Major, massive anxiety, like
Okay.
terrible
Okay.
anxiety, debilitating, actually, like not able to live a normal life type of anxiety.
Yeah.
I had sleep apnea, which I still have a little bit, but it's really decreased a lot. I have a little list here. IBS, IBS with
Mm,
constipation. So
okay.
throughout my entire adult life, I've been constipated on and off, and I never really understood what was setting that off. I just figured, that's just the way my body works. My
Well,
body,
there's a big mind gut connection. I mean, my background is, expertise in nursing was in gastroenterology and hepatology. And I know that when I talk to patients with IBS, which is, a lot of patients think that, oh, it's like a diagnosis you get when they can't figure you out. But that's really not true. It's a really it's a real diagnosis, but it's more neurological. And so there's such a
mm,
connection between, maybe even the anxiety that you were dealing with could have
mhm,
been part of that. There's, other
yeah.
than the brain, the gut has the most nerves in the whole body.
So I'll tell you this. I mean, since I've been carnivore, I started the carnivore journey in February 22nd. And it was because of Dr. Berry, really, that I
Okay.
started. I watched him go from keto to carnivore, and do so well. It was like, okay, so this is actually a viable option. It's a doable thing. It's not like as crazy as it seems like, because he's thriving. So I started
Yeah.
on February 22nd, and I
Of
noticed
this year.
this year, yep,
Okay.
2023. And I noticed that if I eat certain things, like the first thing to set it off, like I never had IBS with constipation until I tried this product. It's called Chomps beef sticks,
I
and
eat those.
they're very clean. They're a good
Yes.
choice for a beef stick.
Yes.
When I eat that, it flares up my IBS with constipation. The next day, I'll be constipated.
Interesting.
Hmm.
Very interesting. So there are some spices in the chomps.
Hmm.
I wonder if it's like paprika or something.
So I definitely have I've discovered that I have some kind of an issue or intolerance for black pepper. And I did notice that those chomps had black pepper in it. And I was like, well, when I think I've made a video about it. And as I was
Yeah.
recording the video, I was like, well, I hope this doesn't cause me a problem, this black pepper.
Yeah. Well,
Um,
black pepper is high in histamine,
mhm,
and you have a lot of histamine receptors in your gut. And so it may
yeah,
be I can't eat black pepper either. If I do
yeah.
pepper, I have to have white pepper. And I think
Mm,
that paprika, which is in a lot of those beef sticks, is also high histamine. So I'm wondering if that might be the culprit.
yeah. So there were two things that were similar to that. One was a different kind of a beef, processed beef meat, very
Okay.
clean. I think I got it at Costco, the Teton
Is
beef.
it yeah, is it the really long ones?
Not the long ones. They're like
No?
smoked sausages. They're just regular,
Oh,
like
okay.
they
I
look
get these
kinda like a
long
hot
ones
dog.
at Costco that are probably like that long.
Yeah, I've seen those.
They're super
I've tried
clean
those
too.
too, yeah.
Yeah.
And so I'm thinking this is a perfect thing. It doesn't have any sugar. It's very, very clean. When I ate that, it flared up my IBS with constipation. So I was constipated the next day. I'm like, okay, so I can't eat those.
So maybe also that could be the casing.
I don't know what the casing is made of, actually. I'm assuming it's some kind of a beef casing because they're all beef, 100% beef. So I don't know for sure.
Yeah, I know that as I've been, with my mast cell activation syndrome, my issues with histamine, I've had to really research the histamine issue, and it really does affect your gut. And I I know that organs organs in general are
Mhm.
supposedly higher histamine, but
Oh,
intestines and stuff, yeah. So I don't know. I mean, I know that you eat liver,
I
and I watched
do.
your video on liver, and I mean,
Yes.
you made it look so appetizing.
Oh
Now,
my God, it was so delicious. Oh my God, it was so good.
you're gonna have to share a little bit more. We'll get to that when I show your channel, but
Yeah,
so you're still kind of working out, it sounds like, working
I
out
am.
what you can eat. Now
Yeah,
with the eczema, is that an autoimmune?
it is.
It
Yep,
is autoimmune. Yeah. So
yep.
have you found that with dealing with an autoimmune, like a lot of others that have autoimmune illnesses, that you have to be much stricter with what you eat?
Yes, I'm finding that out. As a matter of fact, just this week I was thinking, "Hey, Renee," I love her so much. um, yeah, I found out this week. I had the thought, like, I might be a person who has to be lion. I tried some chicken,
Yeah.
and I feel like the next day my hand eczema was a lot worse.
Hmm.
Um, and I'm
I
like, and
can't eat chicken.
the multiple times I have tried chicken, I love chicken wings. It's like one of my favorite things. Um, and the multiple times that I've tried to eat chicken, I've had some kind of thing where I feel not as good the next day when I eat it. I don't want to give it up. I mean, I've already
Yeah.
given up so many things. I gave up coffee. I'm like, oh my God, I gave up all my sweeteners, all of that. So, but if it is the chicken that is, I mean, if it's one of the things, the chicken that is causing
Yeah.
a hand eczema flare, I will have to end up ultimately giving that up as well.
Yeah. So you haven't tried the lion diet yet.
I tried sea lion. So
I
that
don't
was
even, oh, is that with fish, like the lion
with
diet plus
fish.
fish?
Yeah, so it
Oh,
was lion plus fish. So I didn't have no dairy, that time at that time, no bacon, no chicken, none of that stuff. And I realized I really missed those kinds of food. When I came back to the regular carnivore, I was like, oh my gosh, this is so freeing. I can eat many things. I love bacon, and I love chicken. So,
yeah.
we'll see. I'm gonna have to like do a real experiment and see if it's the chicken because that would be a bummer. But
Yeah, I mean, it's important to eliminate something for at least 6 weeks.
hmm
So, I mean, you could definitely do a trial off of just say 6 weeks, I'm not gonna do any chicken and see what
yeah,
happens, you
right.
know? I know I had to do the lion
I'll have
diet.
to set myself up for that because I'm like, I'm not ready. I
Yeah,
don't
I
eat
mean,
it
it
very
really
often though. I don't eat it
it
very often. I eat it
it's
maybe.
very
Yeah.
psychological. Did now, so what made you so you said Kimberry was the one that really sold you on
Yeah,
trying the carnivore diet.
right.
Did you have any difficulty with making that transition? Like, how did your body respond?
Oh, yes, I did. So I will say that mentally I did not have a challenge transitioning. I
Okay.
knew that I would do it. I called it an elimination diet where I was eliminating everything that's except for meat for 90 days.
Okay.
And so mentally I was there, ready to do it. But physically I had diarrhea for a whole month, one
Oh my
whole 90
goodness.
days. Other than
Like
that, I felt absolutely fantastic. But
like how like was it multiple times a day or was it like
no, no,
no?
it was just like, when I go to the bathroom, it's not,
It was
it's
just really loose.
yeah, loose stools, yeah.
Yeah.
So, um,
I've
so
heard a
that
lot
was,
of people
yeah.
have that when they're getting fat adapted.
Right. Well, the thing of it is I was on keto I was kind of off and on keto for the last, so I said I was on it solid for 5 years.
Right.
After that, the next 5 years, I was on and off. I could not get myself back in the groove of it. And I'm finding
Okay.
when I talk to people, they have that same problem. Like when you
Me
go
too.
off of it, it's so hard to get back focused and just do that strict again. So I kept going off and I would gain and lose weight. I mean, yo-yo dieting the whole this last 5 years. So I had been trying to get back on keto. So I know that my body has been fat adapted for a long time. Like I can probably switch back and forth because I've been doing it for so long.
Yeah.
But so I didn't have any, keto flu or anything like that. It was just the tummy issues.
And
So
so since you were pretty, pretty fat adapted, do you have any theories as to why?
yeah. So a couple of things that I have heard when talking to the docs about it is one could be the transitioning of the gut biome from eating a primarily plant-based diet to a primarily meat-based diet. So
Mhm.
that could be possible that, flushing that all out. And
Shedding it
then,
all.
Mhm.
Yeah, shedding out that excess bacteria.
Yep. And then the
Yeah,
other thing is how much fat was I eating? Like, did I have
right,
too much fat? Because too much fat will cause loose stools.
right.
So I don't know exactly because I wasn't really troubleshooting it necessarily. I did try to reduce my fat a little bit, but 30 days, it was 30 solid days. So I just knew that I was going to
Wow.
just stay the course.
And it
And
just kinda suddenly it resolved?
it did. And then normal bowel movements. Like,
Wow.
never had that before. Just normal. Like, what? These are just regular. So that was pretty awesome.
That's
It was a
amazing.
very noticeable change. Like,
Yeah.
wow, that's incredible.
Yeah, so you're still at this point, you're still able to have regular bowel movements
Yes. And as
on
long as I
carnivore?
don't incorporate anything like, and I do eat some processed meats, like I'll eat those, ham or
Mhm.
some kind of sliced meat, and that doesn't cause me a problem. It was just those beef ones. So I don't know
Yeah.
what was in them, but as long as I don't eat that, my bowel movements are normal.
Wow, that's great. That's great. Now, have you found that you've had to drink more water?
I find myself more thirsty than I
Okay.
ever have been. So I have been drinking, just naturally drinking a lot more water because I'm just more thirsty. Um,
Yeah,
so,
I think one of the things that, I heard people talking about is the need to make sure you're drinking more water while you're on carnivore because there's a lot of water in fruits and vegetables
yeah, yeah,
that we just get without realizing it. And then
yeah,
you take those away and it's kind of easy to get a little dehydrated.
yeah. Russ was just talking to me about that. Homesick Buckeye. That's
Yes.
that's right. So he was telling me that he got dehydrated. He was telling everybody, but he was telling me too, that he got dehydrated when he cut out like his lettuce and tomato that he ate every single day, and that he was ended up being dehydrated and having to do a regimen of drinking water. So
Yeah.
yes, that's definitely a thing.
That's where I'm at too. Like I naturally don't, you know, drink a ton of fluids.
Hmm.
So yeah, for me it's harder. I have to force myself. And even though I know that I do feel thirsty,
Yeah.
but yeah, it's really important to make sure you're getting plenty of water and also for the bowel movements because if you're dehydrated, it's going to constipate you. So,
So lately I've been increasing my fat. I'm taking a tip from Bella at Steak and Butter Gal
mhm,
of increasing my butter. So I bought some really good quality butter and I'm
mhm.
trying to increase up to 1 stick a day. And everything's working fine right now.
Well, that's good. That's good.
Yeah.
So how has your so you let's go a little bit back to your anxiety.
Mhm.
Back when you were dealing with the anxiety, how is that affecting your life?
So I will say that I have not fully resolved anxiety yet.
Mhm.
Um, I noticed probably a year before the pandemic, I started to have this anxiety driving to work. And I had to drive
Hmm.
about 90 miles a day.
Oh, wow. That's a long
And
commute.
yeah, it was a long commute. And I felt very anxious about it. Um, and I noticed that, like, when I was on the highway, getting up to around 70 miles an hour, I would have some vision problems. Like things would look weird. I don't know how else to describe it.
Mhm.
Things would look weird. And I think it's because maybe my blood pressure was going up and I don't know exactly what the mechanism.
Anxiety can cause that.
And so I would get off the highway and drive the back roads, which is a long way when you're trying to drive 90 miles a day.
Yeah.
So I noticed that before the pandemic started. After the pandemic was, we were kind of getting back out into the world, I noticed that it was a lot worse. Like I could not get on the highway without
Hmm.
having a panic
Interesting.
attack.
Wow.
So I, as a matter of fact, I was driving like 30 minutes away one day with my mom, and I had a panic attack and had to pull over on the side of the highway and have my mom drive. So this
Yeah,
is
wow.
debilitating. It's like totally impacting the way you live your life. I also noticed like driving through town, um, like on a sunny day, you know how when you're driving, you can see the shadows from the trees.
Yeah.
That would give me some kind of anxiety, panic attack feeling. Like it looks weird. It just is flashing. That's how I
Yeah.
describe it. It looks like it's flashing.
Yeah,
Driving
interesting.
down hills, crossing over bridges, all those kinds of things, massive, massive panic attacks to the point where just trying to cross over a little overpass, I would feel like I should stop and pull over um, because I don't know if I'm going to make it across this bridge, and it's
Now
just a
have
little
you
overpass. You know,
have you sought, like, therapy or
um,
counseling or anything?
I
Yeah,
haven't. I
Because
haven't.
it's really interesting, the types of things that will trigger your anxiety. It almost seems like there might be some repressed memory or something of being with a crazy driver that scared you or something as a
Mm,
child.
maybe so.
Yeah,
When we were
interesting.
kids, I think you're around my age. I'm 57.
Yeah, I'm 55.
We didn't have to wear seatbelts.
No.
We were all over the car
Yeah.
back
I remember
then.
standing up in the middle with my parents were in the front seat, and it was a full bench seat, and standing in
Mhm.
the middle and kinda with my elbows over
Yeah, right.
while they drove.
So I do remember being like down in in the car in the passenger side, but not on the seat, down in the little where the feet go.
Mhm. Okay,
So,
wow.
I don't know, just I don't know what exactly it is, but I've had it in the past, and I kind of overcame it. Even to take that job 90 miles away, I had to like make sure that I was okay to be able to
Oh,
drive that
yeah.
far.
Yeah, absolutely.
Um, so, but now it's back, and before I started carnivore, it was really, really debilitating. So I've noticed that on a carnivore diet, it's a lot less. So I
Okay,
know
that's
I was
good.
driving the other day and I was like, okay, so it's a sunny day. I see the shadows from the trees, but they're not giving me any kind of a panic attack. I can just see it,
Okay.
and I do observe it because I know that that's something that impacts me. Hey, Jay. um, and so, I'm still dealing with it. A couple of things that I have tried to try to address it are to give up the sweeteners, give up
Okay.
coffee, because I know that coffee can cause your, heart rate to elevate. So
Mhm.
I've given that up. It hasn't been 90 days yet, though, so I'm not sure.
Okay. Okay.
Um, you know, and um, and I'm still dealing with it to a degree, just not as
Yeah.
bad as it was before.
So, yeah, well, I know you hear so often about people who had their, their mental health really improve on the carnivore diet. So hopefully, over time you'll continue to get better.
Yeah, and I definitely have had some major improvements that I would like to just point out. So, I used to be food obsessed. Two things I want to say. Food
Mm,
obsession, like constantly thinking about food, talking about food. What am I going to eat tomorrow? Am I going to go to the store? Am I going to buy some food? Just constantly, constantly. I noticed that my mom and our entire conversation had to do with food all the time. And I was constantly just going over and over and over in my head about food.
yeah,
That is gone. I don't have that food obsession anymore.
that's
I don't really,
amazing.
yeah, I don't think about food unless I'm hungry or I'm doing something for my channel, right? So I do have to think about it a little bit, but it's not obsessive the way that it was before.
Yeah.
Um, and then the other one is like worrying about everything. If somebody would call me on the phone, I would immediately think something has happened, something bad has happened. That was my permanent stance, was that something bad has happened. If anybody calls me, texts me, so I would be in this high state of anxiety.
Yeah, and that's gotta be the anticipatory anxiety from that has got to
Right.
be challenging
It
because 'cause you're
was.
like, "Hope nobody calls, hope nobody texts."
Yes. So I noticed like
Interesting.
my last I was on a call, I was on a live stream last week, and my daughter called me, and I just sent it to voicemail and didn't even think twice about it.
Oh,
Did
wow.
not think twice about it. And I was like, so that what I thought was a normal state of being for me, to just be highly anxious, was not actually the normal state of being for me. It was
Yeah.
just, what the food that I was eating, I guess, that was causing me to be so high strung.
Yeah, maybe a lot of those toxins from the plants were affecting your brain.
Yeah.
So Renee says you may have to force yourself to go drive every day. So
Yeah. So
that
I
is
do drive. I drive. I just don't get on the highway.
so
I
it's
drive
really
through
the
town.
highway.
Yeah, it's when
'Cause
I
I know
get
you mentioned you could
up
do
at
back
high
roads.
speeds. Yeah, I can do the back roads. I drive everywhere I need to go, through through town, though.
Okay.
So, if I need to go to Chicago, I need a driver because somebody's gonna have to drive me
Are
because I
you
can't.
close to the highway where you live?
I am, yeah.
So I
Mhm.
don't know, maybe taking take a little bit of an excursion on the highway every day and
Yeah.
see. I
I have tried it a couple of times. I felt, okay, like, let me just give it a shot and see if it's
Yeah,
better. So I am testing it.
good.
Um, and one day I drove about, I don't know, 20 minutes from my local rancher where I was out there to buy food and drove back home on the highway. And I was like, oh, okay, so that wasn't so bad. But then I noticed again, maybe something I ate. I actually went out to eat, and I think they had the seed oil. I know they had the seed oils in the food. And I
Mm,
noticed that my anxiety is back when I eat that.
wow.
Yes.
So
Yes,
wow, so that's really an obvious trigger.
it is. Yep.
Well, and it's amazing too. We have so much so many mental health problems in society, and look at all the seed oils that people eat all the
Right.
time.
Exactly. Yeah, I
That
was
will,
at the Chinese food buffet last Sunday, because that's where we went with the kids, right? And I get the hibachi because you can just get meat, right? Nothing on it, just meat. But the block of stuff that they're putting on the grill to cook that meat was sitting there not melting. And I
that's a
thought,
bad sign.
What is that?" I
Not
almost
butter.
I almost thought maybe I should just fast, and I probably should have fasted
Mm,
because that definitely gave me, I feel like it flared up my eczema. I've had a really bad week with my hand eczema,
oh
and then
wow.
also the anxiety is just cranked up.
Yeah, so obviously the seed oils are a huge thing for you.
Mhm.
I mean,
Yes.
I don't necessarily notice it with my mental health, but I notice it for sure with my gut. If some, it's still the same as you going out to eat. Even if you go someplace and you think you're doing okay with the choice, they can slip seed oils in. And I've heard that not all the butter is actually 100% butter that they
Right.
use. It's a
Well, I know
combination.
that they were using, it had to be margarine, some kind of combination of margarine and oil that they use on that to season that grill.
Mm.
Um, because when I looked at it, I was like, "Uh-oh, that's not melting at all. It's just sitting there in a block right
Yeah,
next to a hot
not
hibachi grill."
natural.
No, not natural. So,
Wow.
I do prefer to eat at home. I mean, I love to cook, but sometimes it's the convenience factor, and we have a lot of kids, 11 grandkids.
Yeah,
So
11 grandkids. So how many kids do you have?
I have 4.
4.
Yes,
Okay. And do they
and,
all have kids?
my son doesn't have kids yet.
Okay.
So I have, 3 daughters and 1 son, and, all 11 of one of them is a, um, bonus child. I'll call it a bonus child, right?
Okay.
So, but yeah, all of the kids are from my daughters. My son doesn't have any kids yet.
Wow. Wow, you got me beat by 8.
Wow.
I only have 3 grandkids.
Oh, they're awesome. I love the grandkids. They keep me young.
Yeah, mine are too far away. I'm in
Oh,
Washington State and they're in Texas with my oldest
oh,
daughter. Yeah,
yeah.
so
Mine are all here local. They're all right here
oh,
around.
that's so nice. So you get to see them all the time. But so
You.
no wonder, I mean, you'd have to like to cook because with all those grandkids,
Mhm.
they're
I love
probably.
to cook. It's therapeutic. It really relaxes my
So
mind.
how do you cook when, the grandkids are over? Like, do you have other is your how does your family feel about you and being carnivore and all of that?
So my family is fine with it. At first, when I first started doing it, they were like, "That sounds crazy. Um, are you sure you're gonna do that?" They thought it couldn't be healthy to do it. Um, and I started to talk about it, about what I was learning about it.
Mm,
Um, and so everybody's fine with it now. And I always bring something carnivore to every get together that we have. So, for instance, we're having Christmas at my house this year. We're
okay.
having all the meats, all the meats. And then,
Good.
people will bring sides to go with it, the sides that they want to bring with it, to have
Thank
with
you,
it.
Jay. Just want to say thank you for he
Jay.
popped in on my channel. Thank you.
Yeah. So,
Okay, so you're making a whole bunch of meat. Are you making other sides and stuff for the rest of the family that's not carnivore?
so
Or?
far I do not have anything on my plate to make. So I am going to make a couple of things. They will be carnivore. I'm going to probably do like deviled eggs.
Yeah.
I might do Maria Emmerich's lasagna, carnivore
Okay.
lasagna. Oh, it's so good. I had it at Thanksgiving and I ended up leaving it at my daughter's house. And I was so sad because I still
Oh
wanted to eat
no.
a little more of it. So might make that. Um,
I've seen people make it. I have not tried. Of course,
so
can't do
good.
dairy. I can't do dairy,
Oh, you
so
can't do dairy. Oh, okay. Yeah.
yeah, so
So
that makes
yeah,
it a little more challenging for me. But it looks
it's
amazing.
incredible. It's absolutely incredible. Yeah.
So you do
So,
okay with dairy?
so I don't have it all the time. I mean, besides butter, which I'm not sure that we're considering butter or dairy, it depends on who you talk to. But yeah, so I don't have it all the time. I have it every now and again. So I would be able to have it for like a holiday or something. And
Okay.
then I just saw Christy at Meeting Wellness made these oopsie cake cupcakes with
Mhm.
whipped cream, and I was like, I'm gonna definitely make that for myself
I
because
saw the thumbnail for that video and I hadn't watched it. So it's
it
really
looked
with
so good.
it's with whipped cream?
Yeah.
Is there
Oh my
eggs
gosh.
too?
Yes, it's
Okay.
oopsie cake. So it's the the whipped egg whites and then the egg yolks and then whipped topping on top, whipped cream on top.
Okay.
So I think I'm definitely gonna make that because I'm not eating sweets.
Mhm.
So I can make part of it sweets free and then part of it with a little bit of sugar-free sweetener for anybody who else who might want to try it.
So
I haven't had a dessert since
what sweeteners do you use when you do use a sweetener?
So I have a bunch of sweeteners here at my house, and now I'm like not even using sweeteners. I have like monk fruit
Mhm.
sweetener, and then I have oh my gosh, what are the other ones? I used to use Swerve. I don't think I have any of that right now. That's like erythritol.
Erythritol, yeah.
And I can't think of the name of the one that I have. It's called Pure.
Okay.
But
Because I
so
know there's
and then
sucralose and
liquid
there's
sucralose, it was the
stevia.
sweetener that I used all the time in my coffee, liquid sucralose. And so, that is a sweetener that I do use if I'm making something sweet for the family. I don't use it for myself because 'cause I'm not using sweeteners anymore right now.
Oh, okay. Oh, well, that's good. So have you noticed an improvement since you stopped doing sweeteners?
No, I haven't noticed any
No?
difference. And so I'm just wondering, uh, I would say what the one thing that I did notice about sweeteners was how hard it was to give them up. I
Mm,
definitely had a stronghold and addiction to the
yeah.
sweeteners because I was so sad and depressed and just down in the dumps for weeks, for probably a month after giving
Wow.
that up. I felt angry and just upset about having to give that up.
Wow.
But I'm better now. But yeah, it was very, very challenging to give that up. So the addiction part of it is what I don't want to
Mm,
go back to, right? I don't want to be
right.
addicted to any substances. So for me, the only cure for addiction is abstinence,
Mhm.
and I'm not able to moderate. I noticed that because I have reduced my sweeteners in the past. I have given them up. I gave them up for 30 days and brought them back in. But Renee, she's funny.
She was mad.
Yeah, I
I
felt
wanna give up my sweeteners.
I felt so sad, but so that, giving it up and trying to reduce it, I kept noticing that I would always increase it back up, you know,
Mm,
to a high level of sweetness. And so that's an addiction. Like, when
yes.
you keep wanting more and more and more of a substance,
Yeah.
That's called an addiction. So I
Well, that
just
was what got me with when I was doing the keto diet is I was really doing, you know how they have all those keto sweets that you can do?
yes.
I was making those,
Me too.
yeah, and it's like it just made it so that I wanted the real thing, and,
Mhm.
I was making them and I'd eat the whole thing, and then I'd want more, so I'd make another one, and it just
Yes.
didn't tackle the addiction, and I'm
No,
like
it didn't.
you, I cannot moderate,
No,
you
I'm not a
know?
moderator. My nature
I
is
am not
not
either.
moderation. I know
I
that there are people who can, like,
Yes.
they can moderate, and I am like, "Wow, you're amazing," because that's not my story at all.
My
I
husband's
just
one of them. He
wow.
he he can moderate, and
Mm,
my daughter actually can moderate as well.
nice.
Um, I always look at her like, "You only want a bite of a cookie?"
What is that?
Like, that doesn't even
Doesn't
compute.
register. No, no, no. That doesn't
'Cause, yeah,
compute.
yeah, with me and sweets, I'd go crazy with sweets. Like, if somebody brought, like, a cake or a pie into the house and, we'd all have a piece, but then later at night, I'd go back and I'd I'd eat more and,
Yeah.
my husband would always he'd, like, take an extra bite and I would be like, "It's not the edge isn't even now,
So we
so
now
I
gotta
gotta
even
even
that
even
out.
the edge
Yeah,
out," you
absolutely.
know?
100%.
And then, of course, that edge would get smaller.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
No,
I
it's
did
it's a
that too. I did all of the keto treats, keto products, all of the things, and I just realized I'm not able to eat carbs
Right.
because I'm an addict.
Me too.
So, I'm like, I just have to give it up. So that's basically what I've done. And I've been I've been sugar free for a long time, many years. I've been sugar free
Mhm.
because I knew like sugar was bad for us a long time ago. But those sweeteners, I did check like my ketones, I checked my blood sugar, did all of the measurements and made sure that it wasn't causing a blood sugar spike and all that kind of stuff. But that addiction it was hard to kick it. It was really hard to kick
Yeah, I know I've heard so many people talk about how even just the sweetness, it doesn't have to spike your blood sugar,
it. Mhm.
but just the sweet taste is enough to trigger your brain
Right.
with the
Yep.
addiction. And
Yeah.
yeah, I struggle with the same thing. I haven't quite I only thing I use every great once in a while is a few monk fruit drops in my if
Mhm.
I have some tea.
Yeah,
But now and so the coffee, you went off of the coffee for your anxiety,
I
correct?
did.
So
Mhm.
I see at the beginning of your videos that you always make a beverage in the
I
morning and
do.
then go home. So can you tell us about what is it exactly that you're making?
I am making what I'm calling a fatty latte.
Okay.
And it has just hot water. Right now, I'm using MCT oil, a tablespoon of MCT oil.
Okay.
But I do sometimes use butter. Sometimes I put tallow in there. If I want it to taste more savory, like a soup, I'll put
So
the
I know
tallow.
I've had MCT oil in the past, but it's been like for years. Could you share a little bit more about what exactly is MCT oil?
Yeah, it's the medium chain triglycerides. I guess, so what I'm understanding about it is that it crosses the blood brain barrier
Okay.
and it's like a boost of ketones. So what I noticed was when I gave up the sweeteners, the brain fog came back bad.
Interesting.
It came back
Interesting.
so bad. So I'm like, I have to be on top of my game for my job. So I thought I used to do those bulletproof coffees, and those
Mhm.
really give you like a boost of energy. They give you clear that brain fog out. So that's why I incorporated that back in. And it does. It gives you
Yeah.
energy and it also makes me able to think almost like I had a cup of coffee actually in the morning.
Wow. So is what does MCT oil come from? Like, what's the
It comes
source of
from
it?
coconut. It's a
From
coconut
coconut.
product.
Okay,
Yes,
so it is a plant-based
it's a plant-based product,
oil.
right?
Okay,
Yes.
so it's just technically not carnivore, but it sounds like it's giving you some good health
It
benefits.
is. I mean, I feel like it is. Certainly, if I go along and I determine that it's not, I will probably eliminate it. But right
And
now,
it
I
hasn't
use
caused breakouts of your eczema.
no. So
Yeah, 'cause
I've used it in the past and I've never had a problem with it.
well, coconut
So
oil is not a seed oil.
no, it's not a seed oil. No,
So, yeah, so I would think that MCT oil would not be a seed oil if it's derived from
no.
coconuts. So
Right.
that's probably one of the, safer
Yeah.
oils to do.
Yes. So
So,
so now I'm using that. And then I put collagen in there. So a scoop
okay,
of collagen, whatever. Right now I'm using my very favorite collagen. It's called Native Path.
okay.
And it has no taste at all. It's totally tasteless.
Mhm.
And then I also started incorporating iodine because I understood from Dr. Elizabeth Bright that most of us are deficient in iodine. So I've
Right.
recently started adding that in. Haven't seen anything yet. I think it's too
Is it
soon.
the Lugol's that you
Yeah,
use?
it's the
Mhm.
Lugol's 2%. Yes, so
2%. Yeah.
two drops of that,
Yeah.
and
So each drop
then
of that is 2.5 milligrams of
of
iodine.
iodine. Yep.
Mhm.
So, that and then recently I started adding in my Element electrolyte powder, the unsweetened.
What's your favorite flavor?
Oh my gosh, watermelon,
Me
but
too.
I don't drink, I'm not using sweeteners.
I know. It's my last kind of guilty pleasure,
Yeah, yeah.
but yeah, watermelon's my favorite too.
Watermelon's my favorite. So, but I'm using the raw unflavored, and I put that in there, and it's just like a hot, salty, fatty drink. And then you can add a little bit of cream to it. I have done that too if I wanted,
Okay.
but the cream I felt like didn't really add anything to it, so I stopped putting it in there because I'm like, it doesn't really add any benefit to me to add
Yeah.
that in there.
Now, have you
So
used Element to make Jello?
I haven't, but I did see Anita's video about that. And I'm like, I need to try to make that, maybe try to make that for the holiday.
It's a
Um,
little bit addictive,
ooh.
and I was really upset that I found out I was having gut issues. I was making it a lot, and I was having gut issues, and I found out that gelatin is high histamine.
Oh, bummer.
Me and this darn histamine thing.
That's
It's like,
so good.
yeah, so I had to stop doing it. I have to be really careful even with like capsules. Like a doctor has
Mhm.
me taking vitamin D, and
Yeah.
even the gelatin that the capsule can cause upset stomach.
Wow. I
So
do
you got
take
some,
vitamin D as well. Yes, I've been taking
okay.
vitamin D for years, so my vitamin D is really good.
Okay, so this is LaCroix Pure. Okay. Have you had LaCroix?
I have had LaCroix. I was drinking LaCroix, the flavored ones and the unflavored one, and then also like bubbly and Waterloo is another brand that I
Mhm.
have
I
tried.
use
But
Waterloo.
my favorite sparkling drink is sparkling water by, oh my gosh, it's in a green bottle. I can't think of the name of it right
Is
now.
it San Pellegrino?
San Pellegrino, yeah, San
That's what I
Pellegrino.
drink.
That's what I drink usually, and then I do have a soda stream, so I can make my own sparkling water as well. So,
Nice,
mhm.
nice, nice. I wanna show your channel. I know we've been talking for a while, but I wanna show your channel, so let me go
Absolutely.
over and find it. Okay, so I know probably everybody on here already knows your channel, but I wanted to go ahead, just in case there's someone who doesn't, to show that this is Carnivorous Grandma, and she has, oh, this was cute with you guys with the wigs.
That was
So
fun.
you have a lot of cooking videos, what I eat in a day. You were part of the meatloaf relay that was going on, chicken soup for healing, and you had, you know, you, oh, and I love this. The mother daughter, your mom's a riot.
Yeah, she's so funny. Oh my gosh,
Yeah,
she
you got
cracks me
your
up.
mom on there, you got some shopping videos, so there's a lot of content on here. So for anybody who has not subscribed, definitely subscribe. You go over to the lives, you've got a bunch of upcoming
Yes,
interviews.
I
So you can
do.
see you've got Kip and you've got Carrie from My Metamorphosis, Carnivorous Dude, No Carb Life. So you got a lot of videos coming up here,
I do.
things that you can go in there and watch. Now, I wanted you to share about your Meaty Mondays. I'm going to bring up your, let's see, I'm going to bring up that thing, picture that you gave me, if I can find it.
Okay.
There we go. So this is your picture. You've got your stream that you do with 4 other carnivore women on Mondays called Meaty Mondays with the Fierce Felines.
Yes.
Okay,
So that is
so
a
why don't you
fun,
share
yeah, that
what
is a
that is
fun
all
and
about?
entertaining show. Oh my gosh. So it's with G Brown from Hanging with the Browns. Also, we have Laura at Healthy Carnivore. She just recently changed her channel name at Healthy Carnivore.
Okay.
Rebecca at Carnivore Family, and Rhonda at Carnivore Leo. And we just have a fun and entertaining, informative show to talk about facing the challenges of being on a carnivore lifestyle, is what I would say. We're always talking about how we can do better. How can we overcome different challenges? What are we going to do to prepare? Those kinds of things. But it's also a lot of fun. We're having like a monthly giveaway now. So on the first Monday of the month, we will have a monthly giveaway. And it's just entertainment. So if you have not checked out our Meaty Mondays with the Fierce Felines, come and check us out because it's really a lot of
It's
fun.
a great group of women and the different personalities.
It is. So
And everyone has something unique and special to bring to the
right.
table.
So I had this thought, like I was thinking about doing a panel discussion and trying to see, could we talk with women from all different kind of walks of life, different categories? Because I do the Women of Wisdom series on my channel. And G Brown reached out to me and said, "Hey, I have this idea. I want to do a panel discussion with a group of women from all walks of life." And I was like, "What? That's
You guys on the
crazy."
same page.
Yes, yes. I felt like it was a God connection. And I love that, and it's just a fun group of ladies. I'm really enjoying getting to know them better and also just sharing with the carnivore community. So it's pretty awesome.
That's wonderful. So do you have any interesting upcoming guests that you are excited to interview?
Oh my gosh, I have quite a number of guests. So today I'm going to be interviewing Laura at Healthy Carnivore. I'm super excited to get a chance to talk to her. She's a prepper and she does some really cool things on her channel, like cold canned meat. And so I'm just excited to get a chance to talk to her. But one of the objectives for my channel, for my Carnivorous Grama Speaks series, is to talk with doctors. So far I've talked with Dr. Tony Hampton. I've talked with Dr. Barry and Nisha. That was amazing. I was so
That was a good interview. You were
fangirling around meeting
You were
them.
fangirling.
Oh my gosh, that was crazy.
Well, that was huge because he was your inspiration.
He was my inspiration, absolutely. Yeah. And then I've also talked with Dr. Kiltz, and I've been interviewed on his channel as well. So upcoming, I have Dr. Lisa Wiedemann, who is an eye physician. Yeah. And then I just recently heard back from Dr. Anthony Chafee, and he said that he would come on. So I don't have him scheduled yet, but I'm looking forward to getting him scheduled. The reason why this is so important to me is that I want to make sure that everybody gets the message, right, about the proper human diet. Right. And I feel like, particularly in my community, African American, people of color, we are being driven toward a plant-based vegan diet, which, I mean, I think that we're learning is it has some downfalls. You know, those plants, they have those toxins, neurotoxins, and you know, and so when we go to the doctor tells us you have to have plants, you have to have fruits and vegetables and fiber. And that's actually just not true. And so I want people to know
Yeah.
that there's another good, viable option that they could try. And the
Yeah.
doctors have the credentials, I would say, to talk about it and tell us.
Right.
So that's
Right.
why I'm really focused at trying to make sure that I bring in a lot of voices, definitely,
Yeah.
but certainly the doctors, the people who have the authority to speak. So
So
that's
what
one
do
thing.
you see in the African American community as far as like in what ways do you feel that there is more of a push towards that? Is it just because of the cost of things that are
Hmm.
not as healthy, or I'd be interested in your perspective on that.
So I can say this. My mom went to the doctor a couple of weeks ago and she had tried carnivore with me a couple months ago. She told the doctor that she was on a carnivore diet. The doctor said, I don't know what that is. She said, well, you know, you just eat just only meat.
Amazing.
And the doctor said, no. She told her, no, you can't do that. You have to have fruits and you have to have vegetables for your gut microbiome. Well, that's actually just not the truth. Now, I think the doctors have great intentions, but they're not getting the message yet.
Well, and so many of them don't really know that much about the gut microbiome as it is, and how flexible it is. It will
Mm,
adapt to what you're eating.
right,
And, you have this supposed, normal gut microbiome, but it's based on people who eat the standard American diet.
right. And so when you don't eat the standard American diet, your gut microbiome is going to change.
It
You'll have a different
adapts.
set of bacteria. And like I said, I had to shed all of those bacteria and get in the healthy bacteria that are now causing my gut to have a normal
Right.
bowel movement. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I just feel like in my community, we do trust what the doctors have to say.
Mm,
We take their word for it. So if the
yeah.
doctor tells you that you need to eat an apple a day, you're going to eat an apple a day. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? If they tell you that you need to eat bananas for potassium, you're going to eat your bananas.
So you
And
feel like there's not enough cynicism yet, or, questioning.
yeah, I think
Yeah.
so. I think it's not
Yeah.
enough questioning. And, you know, we're really literally being told that eating fatty meat is going to give you cancer. You're going to have a heart attack. All those kinds of things that we're finding out are just really actually not true.
Yeah.
So, you know, so I feel a call literally
Mhm.
to be on YouTube and talk about it,
Yeah.
and tell people that there's another option and give them good information that they can use to begin their research journey and figure out what's going to be best for them.
Right.
You know, and a lot of people want to be vegan, they want to be a vegetarian, and if they want to do that, then I want them to know that they need to be supplementing. I was just
Right.
listening to Dr. Chafee this morning saying you cannot have a healthy vegan diet without supplementation.
That's very
And
true.
so, you know, and I want people to know the truth.
Yeah.
So
There's
that's
such a, I've when I've told people that I eat carnivore, I can't tell you how many times I hear that people say, "Well, how do you get your vitamins and minerals?"
it's a funny question when you think about it
From
now.
the meat.
Right.
There's
When you
a
think about it
lack
now,
of
you know.
Yeah, there's a lack of knowledge, and honestly, I didn't know. I mean, I can't blame
No
people
either.
because I didn't know that you can get all the vitamins and minerals that you need from meat.
Right.
And it's like the education is just not out there in the mainstream.
Right.
So, yeah, no, I totally get it. And working as a GI nurse, it was definitely fruits, vegetables, grains, everything that was
Mhm.
pushed was the
Even like
standard
the
American diet.
diverticulitis, which they say is caused, I don't know what they say causes it, but they're saying that eating vegetables, plants is good for diverticulitis. That's
Well, so the whole thing, so there's diverticulosis, which is the pockets.
mhm,
Diverticulitis is when one of them gets infected. So the
mhm,
whole concept with diverticulosis is that you need to keep your bowels moving and eat plenty of fiber,
right.
and then you won't end up getting diverticulitis. And so that's been, and it used to be, and even within the realm of diverticulitis and like preventing diverticulitis, things have
Mhm,
changed because it used to be, well, if you have diverticula, don't eat corn, don't eat like nuts and things that
mhm,
could get trapped in those little pockets.
right.
And that ended up being set aside as research showed that that was not true,
Wow.
but they're still pushing the high fiber
Okay.
diet.
Yep. Right.
And yeah,
Yeah. I
and
just
what
have
I've
to
what
say
I've been
one thing. You've mentioned a couple of times that you worked in gastro. My daughter is an MA, and she's been working in gastro for many years now. So yeah, I just had
oh
to mention that.
wow,
Her name is Sashi
love
Aluncia.
the MAs.
Yes, she's
Yeah, those MAs do, they work hard.
awesome.
Yeah, they're constantly rooming patients and calling insurance companies, and they're dealing with a lot, that's for sure.
Yeah.
I appreciate medical assistants.
Yes.
So just
Yeah.
like I appreciated our nursing assistants when I worked in the hospital.
Hmm.
But I was listening, I forget who it was, but I was listening to one of the doctors talking about diverticula and the carnivore diet. And it might have been Anthony Chafee, I don't know, remember. But the whole concept was that, with the diverticula, the wall of the colon kind of weakens. And so you get these little out pockets, like these little pouches
Hmm.
pouch through the weakened wall. And the
Hmm.
whole thing is that if you eat carnivore, you're not necessarily having as large bowel movements and as frequent of a bowel movement. And so your colon is going to be more at rest. And
Oh,
so,
okay.
oh yeah, so there's less of a chance that you're going to develop the diverticula, because generally there are people who have a bunch of the diverticula at a young age, and there's like a genetic component to that. But
Hmm.
most people don't start to develop those until they're maybe 50, or sometimes in their 40s, but 50 plus. And so you've got years and years and years of having large, frequent bowel movements.
Right.
And so I thought, well, that's interesting. That's a theory. I don't know if it's been tested out, but that's actually
Mhm.
something that I hadn't heard, and it does make a lot of sense.
Yeah.
You know,
Interesting.
yeah,
Yeah, I
definitely.
just feel there's such a long way to go in, in our dietary world,
Hmm.
and in the medical community. We just have a long, long way to go, as far as getting this message out there. So I'm happy that we're here in the space and we're talking about it.
Yeah, absolutely. And how has connecting with the carnivore community, how has that impacted your journey as a carnivore?
Mm. You know, I went to the Chicago meetup and it was so awesome just to be around people like-minded. Because sometimes you feel a little bit like an alien.
Oh yeah.
You're the only one, you know. I'm grateful for the Fierce Felines, honestly, and also some other great friends that I've made so far, like Christy at Meeting Wellness. She's amazing, and then it's just nice to have people in your life that are doing what you're doing.
Yeah.
So it can feel less like the oddball, like, but I'm okay with it because I know my goals. And I know that it's going to take time, probably years, for me to heal some of these concerns. So I'm okay with that. But it's just awesome to have the carnivore community. I remember when I saw Carrie Mann, I first saw him on his channel. He was climbing up a pergola and he was just climbing around that pergola. I was like, this dude is crazy. What's he doing? So I started watching him and his passion for the
Yeah.
carnivore diet and the carnivore diet community,
Yes.
interviewing all the carnivores and, talking with the docs and the Healing Humanity, the Power of Proper Human Diet, carnivore diet movie. That is what I think we need. Like, we need to get
Yes.
this message out here so people can realize that they have a choice. So this community is amazing. Everybody I have met has been awesome. I've
Yeah.
loved every single person.
Yeah, me too. I find that carnivores are just genuinely happy people,
Mhm.
and which makes sense because you're going to be happy if you feel better.
Right.
And I know that a lot of us go into it because we have health concerns and
Mhm.
that we get to the point where we're kind of at our wits' end and we don't know what to do. So I think there's a lot of camaraderie, in knowing that we've come from ill health to now improved health.
Yes, that's
So
right.
that's awesome.
And,
So if
it's gonna take time, I would say that. I was listening to Bella, I think, at Steak and Butter Gal, and she was
Mhm.
saying it took a couple of years for her
Renee,
to clear up. Don't be mad, Renee.
she's mad having to give up all this stuff.
I know. It's very, it is it gets a little frustrating. Like, I really wanted some coffee the other day, and I just have to abstain right now,
Yeah,
until I see, is it really causing me a problem with my anxiety? But yeah,
yeah,
sometimes I do want those things. I want to have something sweet, but I just decide that I'm not going to do it, and I don't.
yeah, yeah. Well, we're all kind of being our own guinea pigs
Hmm.
because there really isn't a ton of research out there on the carnivore diet. And so we're trying to figure it out. I hope that the time comes where there's actual research so that people don't have to try to figure it out. Oh, sprinting before we end up, I want to talk about your sprinting because you've done
Yes.
other exercise challenges and joined with some other carnivores doing exercise challenges. So how is it going with your sprinting?
It's going good. So this past week, I mean, I've heard about Dr. Sean O'Mara's protocol on sprinting from Christy at Meeting Wellness and Rhonda at Carnivore Leo. They both are sprinters and have
Okay.
started sprinting back in the summer. I thought I'm not going to be able to really do that because I have a bad knee. But I
Yeah, me
was
too.
listening to an interview with Dr. Sean O'Mara, and he was talking about that visceral fat and how dangerous it is. And I'm like, okay, so I need to just try it.
Yeah.
So I decided this week that I would try it, and I'm going to do a challenge to do it 3 days a week through the month of December. I measured my waist just to
Okay.
see, like, is it really going to shrink my waist? So I'm doing like eight sprints for, I'm trying to get up around 30 seconds, and
Okay.
then my speed varies. I feel like I'm doing slow sprints, very slow sprints. But yesterday I was
Well,
booking.
it helps when you speed up the video.
Oh, right.
I mean, it's like, wow,
Somebody
she's
saw my
really
video
going.
yesterday. They were like, "Be careful!" I was going pretty fast because I started out at a 6, and I was like, "Whoa, that's way too fast."
Wow.
So, yeah, so I'm doing it for visceral fat to try to
Yeah, I
eliminate
mean,
that.
you look like you've got good form.
Oh,
I
thanks.
Yeah, I mean, I watched your video. I'm like, wow, she's like a little self-deprecating ahead of time, but man, she looks good.
Thank you very much. I am enjoying it. I have not been doing very much exercise lately. I've done a couple of the exercise challenges. I do the hula hoop, but nothing really like hit, high
Mhm.
intensity.
Yeah,
So it feels really, really good to be doing those sprints.
yeah.
I'm enjoying
One
it.
of these days, one of these days, I'm going to be able to do that. I just feel like I, I, I'm still at too high risk. Like I still weigh too much.
Mm,
I'm
mhm.
still a little too high risk right now walking. is what I can do. But,
Yeah, totally
but
true.
I started out a lot heavier than you, and I'm still a lot heavier than you. I started at my first weigh-in was 339 pounds.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. So
Mhm.
and I know that was a few days after I started carnivore. So I know I was over 340, and, and now I'm like in the low 280s. So I
Good for
still have a long
you.
ways to go. But yeah, it's
Congratulations.
coming along. But visceral fat, like my body composition scale that I use measures my visceral fat.
Okay.
And so I know for me, the top of the acceptable level is like 15, and I'm
Mhm.
at 24.
Okay.
But
I didn't know where I'm at.
I think I started like 27.
Oh, wow. I need to check
So
my scale. I think my scale does do that. I need to just check it and see if it does.
there's usually an app that comes with those scales, and that'll give you
Yes.
the readout of
My
everything.
scale, let me tell you what happened with my scale. My mom gave me this wonderful scale. It's called Core, and
Okay.
it tracks all this wonderful information. And then one day, a couple of weeks ago, it said, "Can you pay me $20 a month to give you this information?" And I was like, "Nope." Went back to
What?
my old scale.
Well, I use this Renfo scale, and Renfo has a lot of brands, different scales, but the one I got is like I think right now it's like 19 bucks. Sometimes it's 17 bucks on Amazon,
Mhm.
but I think right now it's like 19
Oh, wow.
bucks on
That's pretty good.
Amazon,
Mhm.
and it works beautifully.
Yeah. I have a
Like,
Weight Watcher scale, and it does record some additional parameters. I'll have to take a look
mhm.
at it and see if visceral fat is one of them.
Yeah, it might, because it's kind of nice. And I know that with the scale that I use, it does give me really consistent results. Like, I've had people ask me, "Are you sure it's accurate?" Well, I mean, it's probably not exactly the same as if you got a professional like body
Right.
composition thing done, but it doesn't have my numbers going up and down all over the place. They're very, very steady in their trends. So I think
Okay.
that they're reliable just to see the trend. But
Mhm. I
yeah,
mean, that's what we wanna see is the trend, right? We just wanna see is the trend is
yeah.
downward. So that's good. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. So the visceral fat number is very important for sure. So good. Well, I can't wait to see how you do and how you progress with your sprinting,
Thank you.
and, and what it does with your waist measurements.
I can't wait to see too. On
Excellent.
January 2nd, I will share the measurements.
Very nice. Very nice. So one last thing. So if you were to give advice to somebody who's considering the carnivore diet, who is just learning about it and considering starting it, what advice would you give them?
I would say you should try it. Give it a good the minimum I would say would be 30 days. Highly recommend to do 90 days and
Yeah.
just stay the course with whatever is going on with it because you're gonna feel so much better. So I would say try it. It's a little bit difficult if you have other people in your house that are not carnivore, but it's doable, and it certainly is
Mhm.
something that you can do. Just get yourself mentally prepared. Make sure that you clean out your house if you're able to. If you're not able to do that, just get yourself mentally prepared to be able to do it. And then set your face like a flint, as the scripture says. Set your face like a flint and just stay the course. Do the
Yes.
90 days. In 90 days, you're not going to want to go back. I just don't think you're going to want to go back to the way you used to feel.
Yeah.
So that would be my
Yeah,
recommendation.
it's profound. I mean, even though there are issues and health issues that you have that are taking longer to resolve,
Right.
there's still a profound decrease in inflammation pretty quickly.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
In fact,
Most
that's the
definitely.
one kind of common denominator I hear from other carnivores, is that the inflammation starts to improve like within the first few days. And
Yes.
I noticed that for myself as well.
Yeah,
So,
so one thing I would mention that if you're going from a standard American diet to carnivore, you definitely need to supplement with electrolytes to
yes.
avoid the keto flu or carnivore flu.
Yeah.
And it is avoidable. You do not have to get the carnivore flu. Just make sure you're getting your
Right.
electrolytes.
Yeah, I did. I went cold turkey and I just had the electrolytes to supplement. Yeah, I did not experience the keto flu.
Nice.
The biggest transition was getting past the cravings.
Yeah, that's
And
hard.
that's where, like you said, you just got to power through it
Yes.
and, make up your mind you're going to do it.
Yeah. Yeah,
And
that's what
don't
I said. Just be ready. You know that it's going to be a little bit challenging, but it's doable and you can do
yeah.
it. So stay
Yeah.
the
Well,
course.
I remember years ago I was hearing somebody talk about, you know, temptation, right? So you walk by something that looks tempting to you, and it was referred, in biblical context where you're supposed to flee sin, or they were talking about like Joseph in the Old
Mhm.
Testament where Potiphar's wife was trying to seduce him and
Yes.
he just fled.
Yes.
And this person said they really broke it down. Like as soon as you see something that's tempting, and I'm relating it to food, right?
Yeah.
You see something that's tempting, you have a choice right then and there, whether you're going to continue to look at it or
Yep.
if you're going to turn around and
Yes.
flee.
Yeah.
And so you need to make the decision you can't control what comes into your periphery, right?
Right.
You can't control even walking through the grocery store, right? There are all these end caps that have all these things that seem to be tempting at the checkout and all that.
Mhm.
You can't control seeing it. You can control whether you continue to look at it.
Right. That's true.
Yes.
And the funny thing is, eventually, that stuff won't even register as food
No,
anymore. That's what happened
no.
for me. It doesn't even
I
look
was
it doesn't even look like
shocked.
food.
Yeah, I was shocked when that happened. I went to a bunko game as a sub last week, I think it was. And it took me like at least halfway through the game before I even noticed that there was a bowl of candy on each of the tables.
Wow, that's pretty impressive.
Whoa. And it
Yeah.
didn't even hit me how significant that was until the next day.
Mhm.
And because even when I noticed, it didn't even really dawn on me that I was like, it wasn't an issue for me. Because in the past, I would have been, every time we switched tables, I would have been eating a piece.
Right.
And
Yep.
yeah, I would have been the
Or
one.
fighting the urge to eat it like, "Oh, dang, I don't do
Yeah,
this."
exactly. Exactly. So, yeah, it gets to the point where you don't even notice anymore, and I never thought that was possible.
Right.
But while you're still trying to overcome that, don't even dwell, because turn around, flee like Joseph, you know?
Yes. Right. Yes.
Because if you because if as soon as you dwell, then you start to justify, right?
Yep.
And that's all it takes is once
A
you start to
little thing.
justify.
Yep. That's
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
Yes, indeed.
Awesome. Well, good. I'm so happy. I'm going to let you go. It's been a great interview, and I'm so
Thank
happy to
you.
have finally met you.
Same.
And we will have to talk more. And I'm sure as I mentioned at the beginning, Rob and I are both on the Carnivore Diet Research Committee. We're both on the autoimmune committee,
Yeah.
so we will be chatting more as time goes on.
Yes, indeed.
So. Alrighty, well, I'm going to let everybody go. Thank you for coming on and joining us this Saturday morning. I hope everyone has an absolutely wonderful weekend.
Bye.
Bye.